Welcome to Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering from ELD's Time Vault Games. We have Tony Scapone on a PO list that he has put a bunch of work into. Casting Candy Trail, that's right. He is absolutely fearless in his deck building and experimentation, trying to find the best lists, whatever archetypes he is building. Put several decks on the map. His new PO list, he is really taken some significant leaps and bounds with it. Of course, this all kind of kicked off with the unbanning of Mind's Desire. That inspired him to try and break the card and quickly found it was the worst card in the shell. There were plenty of underexplored cards that worked very well together. Mostly paradoxical outcome, and then the One Ring that really changed to be a powerhouse. Coveted Jewel, another card that is just unbelievably busted. Now, Wasteland did stop that Urza's Saga from creating any type of board presence, but another one has shown up with an Ancient Tomb, potentially make some bodies. Michael with a really nice timing there on the Fire Ice, tapping down Urza's Saga, denying Tony an extra body, and actually resolving his Cascade trigger right now to find a Crashing Footfalls. That firefight earlier over the One Ring. Of course, Force of Will is excellent backup, but Michael had that along with a Mystical Dispute. Body. Trying to not get completely overwhelmed by Rhinos here. Metamorph looking to copy that body. Could be in somewhat decent shape. This is not how you draw it up. That's not what Metamorph is in there for at all, but oh, I guess right now he only has 3 total artifacts, so these are actually dwarfed right now by the Rhinos. That's a disaster. Oh, if he's got a Brazen Borrower. And I guess I'm surprised he didn't utilize that. They're very interesting. Brazen Borrower could have bounced the other construct and just completely wrathed Tony's side of the board. And it's still a game-winning play. So he does Brazen Borrower during the end step. If he had done that during combat, Tony would have had only 2 artifacts left, so construct that was in conflict with the Shardless agent also would have went down in flames. But I guess it was a back-breaking enough play during the end step. Brazen Borrower. A lot of utility to that one. All right, so Tony leading off with Otawara. Game 2. Explosive start the deck is designed for, but see up for with some resiliency. Rhinos, actually an interesting deck. I borrowed it 1 week, didn't get amazing results with it. Not sure what speed we should be playing it at, to be honest. I feel like I need a few reps. Really nail down Force of Negation, stopping the One Ring. On the one hand, it can potentially cascade very early. It did feel like playing against Delver, though, having the Crashing Footfalls in your opener was very strong. To jam that on turn 1. Game was definitely going to go enough turns where you were going to be threatening additional Rhinos. Complement any board presence you managed to get really well. Kind of overwhelm them, even if they could potentially stabilize against just a pair of Rhinos, bringing in 2 more. A card like Murktide actually insufficient. And good. Off of Urza Saga. Finding another shot at a 1 ring. This is going to be Force of Vigor, just to take out the Manifold key. One ring puts the shields up for a turn, and this is kind of anybody's game here. One ring. Haven't seen a ton of on camera. It's unbelievably powerful. Play a great deal of it in Coveted, alongside Coveted Jewel and Vintage. Oh, look at this. Inevitable Betrayal. Tony hands over the deck. This is in there to grab the Singleton Emrakul. And it looks like actually not in there. Having a Phyrexian Metamorph instead, copying the 1 ring. So both players having the 1 ring in play. Now Michael kind of immune for the turn. The difference being if Tony does actually pop off, he'll be... The screen froze for a second there. In a completely winning position if he has that Emrakul in hand, just casting it, untapping, swinging for the win. When he goes off, it is actually a kill part compared to Rhinos just getting a board presence. And Lodestone Golem gonna line up kind of poorly here. Doesn't really deter much in the way of attacks. I think I probably just swing out into it. See how... See how Michael decides to play against this Lodestone Golem. Now, every copy artifact and metamorph that Tony finds puts those shields back up from the 1 ring. Letting the Legend Rule destroy the newer version. That's an interesting little dance. I'm not actually sure what's totally optimal. I've mostly just played it by gut feel. The life loss from the 1 ring, not really much of a punishment in those first couple of turns. So right now this is going to get up to 4 counters next turn. Going to draw 4. The alternative would have been copy artifact, copying it, tap, draw 1, untap, draw 2. So you draw 3 cards instead of 4, losing 1 life instead of 3 life. Ooh, Brazen Borrower actually bouncing the 1 ring. That card has done quite a bit in matchup so far. Yeah, Lodestone is a card that wreaked havoc in Vintage thanks to Mishra's Workshop, just a early Lodestone Golem. It's insurmountable for a lot of decks. A little bit harder to pull off in Legacy. Really doesn't see a ton of play. Here is not a strong sales pitch for him. So yeah, Michael actually choosing to just send the Rhinos. Keeping that Shardless Agent back. Yeah, if Tony takes the 8 there and kills the Shardless Agent. Interesting. So Metamorph attempting to copy the 1 ring. That's on Michael's side. Got some counter magic back and forth. Force. Mystical Dispute. And that's going to do it. Tony scooping it up as Rhinos takes it down and advances to the finals of this FNM.